How do you know when to step away and when to step in? A few years ago, I watched a symphony orchestra conductor step away from the podium mid-performance. The orchestra continued playing beautifully while he just stood to the side and smiled. And he hadn't abandoned his role at all. I reckon he'd fulfilled it. Because the musicians were at a point of maturity as an orchestra where they no longer needed his constant direction because he'd created something more valuable than his moment-by-moment leadership. He created this self-sustaining system where the performance carried on without his hands-on presence. And I love this as an illustration of stepping away. Stepping away doesn't have to mean an abdication of leadership. I'm currently coaching a CEO who's a high-profile leader and he's really well regarded in his field. And he's keenly aware that he won't be around forever and he's mindful of the legacy that he wants to leave. In essence, he wants to leave his organisation stronger than when he arrived. And we were talking the other day and he said to me, Digby, with my high profile, there's this danger that I become the go-to guy for both my executive team and our stakeholders. And I want to learn to be more coach-like, so I can empower and enable others to step into these leadership roles that I would usually take on. Now, in my experience, this is a rare mindset, and the constant pressures to stay as the hero leader make living this idea pretty challenging because our culture adores heroes. Yet what sustains performance over time isn't a hero. It's a healthy, anti-fragile, interconnected system of people all playing their part with nothing overly dependent on a single point of failure. I reckon there's this inflection point in your career where stepping away becomes the key leadership move. When I'm working with younger leaders, I'll encourage them to step into the leadership vacuum and find their voice and take the opportunity to make their mark. And as they step in, they get this confidence boost, that can really shape their leadership identity. They'll say, I'm someone who takes the lead, and that mantra becomes their formula for success. Yet that formula replicated at scale can lead to unsustainable performance. And as we progress in our leadership journey, we get to that inflection point where it's less about stepping in and more about stepping away to leave space for others to fill the vacuum. Because if it's all dependent on you to be the hero every time, what happens when you're not around? I reckon this is a core shift in leadership mindset, and I call it the shift from hero to host. And when your identity is all about becoming someone who takes the lead, it can be really hard to let go. As one client said to me recently, if I'm not fixing things, what value do I add as a leader? Yet in 2023, McKinsey released a report about thriving in uncertain times. And the key message out of that was senior leaders need to move beyond command to collaboration. In essence, from hero to host. The old model of the heroic leader that we all look to, that has all the answers, it just doesn't work. We need a shift from hero to host. What does that actually mean? I reckon, in essence, heroing is about putting the leader at the center, whereas hosting is about putting the problem at the center. And let's have a look at the distinctions between those two things. So a hero takes the lead, whereas a host gives the lead. A hero has the answers, whereas a host creates the conditions for the answers to emerge. A hero loves problems to solve, whereas a host loves building systems where problems get solved. A hero is driven by ego, whereas a host focuses on eco, which is the ecosystem that delivers those long-term outcomes. A hero keeps going, whereas a host knows when to stop. So let's get practical. Here are 4 ways you could shift from perhaps a bit of heroing to a bit more hosting. Firstly, ask who's doing the thinking, because whoever thinks about the problem is the one who learns from it. Secondly, create environments of psychological safety for team members to step up without fear of failure. Third, make yourself deliberately unavailable for certain decisions to create space for others to step in. I really like that one. Fourth, celebrate when your team solves problems without your intervention. Really shine a light on the behaviour you want to see more of. And an invitation for you for this week. So identify in the week ahead one decision or meeting where you could practice becoming more host-like and less hero-like. I wonder what that would look like for you. Because your most powerful legacy isn't what you build, but who you build. And by hosting more than heroing, you create this sustainable ecosystem of leadership that outlasts your tenure and becomes your true lasting impact. So where could you allow others to fill the space that you're currently filling? If you'd like some help with shifting from hero to host in your own leadership or the leaders in your organisation, here are 3 ways that I could support you. Firstly, I've got a few one-on-one coaching slots left for the remainder of 2025. So if you want to work one-on-one with me to make those shifts and create a lasting ripple effect, I'd love to have that conversation with you. Secondly, I offer a masterclass. It's a 1-day workshop called Mastering Facilitative Leadership. And this is for senior leaders and professionals who want some tools and they want to be able to start to make that mindset shift and that they can use in all sorts of situations. Super practical, really hands-on session. And third, if you want something you can apply now, there's a tool I've got called the Plan on a Page, which is one of the core tools in the Mastering Facilitative Leadership Masterclass. It's a one-pager that gets you thinking before you're bringing people together about the role that you need to play in the context of the purpose and outcomes that you want to create. It's got a bunch of prompts that you use as a way to reflect and think deliberately before you bring those people together, so you can maximize the chances of collaboration happening and for you to be less of the focus of the meeting and allow the team, the group, to do the work together in a really high quality way. You can download that from a link in the show notes. Hopefully this has been thought-provoking and useful for you. I'm Digby Scott. This is Dig Deeper, and until next time, go well.